Uche Agu garnered fame when he sang with the world-famous South African group Joyous Celebration. He recently released a new album, The Glory Experience, and joins us to tell us more. Uche, thank you so much for joining us on Turning Point.
Thank you so much, sir, for having me.
It's been a minute we've been trying to make this happen, so thank God you're here. The first time I saw you, I mean, millions of us experienced you on Joyous Celebration. I saw you in London and then found out that what we saw in Joyous Celebration actually was just a small part of it. You were traveling around the world, you know, parts of Africa, 30,000 people, 40,000 people in Ghana doing stadiums and all this. Where did it start? Because I know you're the son of a bishop from Nigeria, live in South Africa, lived in America. Tell us a bit about the beginnings for you.
You know, grew up in a Christian home, both of my parents, pastors. You wake up praying. So I would always wake up hearing my dad pray, and we automatically, you know, wake up from that. It's like our alarm. You know, he would start praying, I would start praying, my brother would start praying, and so I grew up in that, kind of environment where you are the first to get to church, set the equipment, you lead worship, and you unpack the equipment. You fast, you know. They follow you up for tithing and all of that. So that's how it all really started for me in church.
Now, for you, what's the influence on your music? Because your sound, some people trying to work out the sound. Uche Agu, is the African sound? Is it praise and worship? Is it gospel? It's all in there somewhere.
Yes, I would say that I'm a worship leader. And then through the leading worship, then the other aspects of me doing African music, doing contemporary worship, doing all kinds of stuff. The dynamics is all in that, in the calling, which is to lead people into the presence of God, and which is what I'm passionate about. Just standing there and being able to bring them to a place where they meet face to face with God, and then I get out of the way, and they leave them to enjoy and just receive the love of God and receive His presence is really my story. And
it's something I've seen you do again and again. But for someone who's watching thinking he's a PK and automatically got a free pass to heaven, what stage did you yourself make that personal commitment to say, you know what, I know Daddy prays, and I have to go to church and I have to fast, but actually I believe this Jesus for myself and I'm making the commitment now?
Yes, the turning point for me, turning point.
I love that.
The turning point for me was when I left Nigeria to Kenya as a missionary with Redeemed Christian Church of God, because I grew up in a Christian home. Everything was just there, you know, but I had to know God by myself, for myself. So God allowed me to leave the shores of Nigeria to East Africa, Nairobi, Kenya, where, man, in fact, when I got to Nairobi, the Lord sent me to a city called Kisumu, which is farther, closer to Uganda. And I served with a Redeemed Church. And, you know, people there who may be watching would remember. So God dealt with me there. I grew more in my personal relationship with God, not the God that my father taught me about. Now I had to learn how to hear from God. You know, through that, I grew. And, you know, and it's really helped me.
So we have this new record that's out, and I'm hoping people would jump in and experience it, the music for itself. But I wonder if you could tell me, because some of the stories you've heard back, the testimonies you've heard back, because I know there's so many of them. So tell us some of the stories that you've heard that's made you think, you know what, it's worth the price that I've paid to do this journey.
Man, just this weekend I was in Temple of Praise in Maryland, where Apostle Nike is a pastor. And after ministering, a young lady walked up to me. He's like, "Hey, Pastor, you were in Chicago a few years back." And I remember that event. It was me, Ronkin Olitai Tribet, and I think Sonny Badu was there too. And I remember towards the end of the ministration the Lord used me to give a prophetic word that, you know, someone was planning to relocate from that Chicago to another city. And the Lord said, stay here and I will meet you here. And she said, man, I received that word. And after that, the Lord connected me to my husband, and look at me now. And wow, I was really shocked. I would never have thought that word that came out was able to, you know, give someone direction. And we've heard about God making, you know, divine provision and healings, and all kinds of miracles, numerous to even recount.
But let me ask you, though, our time is almost up, because many people see you and others like you, see you on social media, admire you, and think, yeah, I want to be like Uche. I want to. For you, what's the most costly part of being this minister that's blessing people around the world?
The costly part is is that there's so many, but the one that I can really talk about is the separation, the seclusion, and I have to be careful who is my friend, where I go to, what I do, how I expose myself to things, because I have to honor the anointing upon my life, and also the sacrifice of traveling, on being on the road all the time, being away from my family. Just I know Jesus Christ has paid everything for us and given us the free gift on which I'm doing what I'm doing today, but just making sure that you are in the presence of God, you are maintaining the presence of God, because without His presence, we just entertainers. So
and it's the presence you've captured on a CD for us, the glory, which we will experience as we get into the music.
Amen.
Uche, thank you so much for joining us in Turning Point.
Thank you so much, sir.